Many things are still a baffling mystery in our world. Science doesn't quite yet have all the answers or all the keys to unlock the secrets of our universe. Every day, somewhere, someone sees something they can't explain. Something that we're told is not there, is not real, or simply doesn't exist. Too many reliable people tell of sightings and encounters with the unknown. The myths, legends, folklore, and old wives' tales are usually based in fact and in reality. When a witness to such a strange encounter finds no one believes them and faces ridicule from people they trust and love, they turn to us, the Alabama Bigfoot Society. Hello, come join us tonight on this Alabama adventure as we travel to a place that I call Dogman Crossing. Yes, we have had a dogman sighting here in Tallapoosa County in Alabama, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that tonight. So come along and join us. From the tail end of the Appalachian Mountains, in the heart of the South, this is Alabama Adventures. Now, before we get out there pretty close to where this sighting happened, let me tell you a little bit about what this thing looked like. He said it had the face of a German Shepherd dog. He said it was colored brown. He said when they first saw it, it was down on all fours running, and it was a pretty large dog, was what they thought it was. He said it did have brown hair. It was very, very muscular when it stood up on two hind legs. The hair, let me get back to that just a minute. He said the hair up around its head and shoulders was much longer than it was from about its waist down after this thing stood up and began running on its hind legs. He said the legs, once it stood up, didn't look like dog legs. They took on a more muscular shape also as a human or an ape type leg. But he said this thing could run extremely fast and it began circling them. And that's what sort of scared them to the point that they decided they'd better get out of the woods as fast as they could. Anyway, let's just get on out there on location where I shot this film, and I'll tell you what happened there. Okay, now, hello today. I've got a little story to tell you about a dogman sighting. And right up this road right here, let me get a little shot of it. Right up this road, you will come to a fence. Okay, and if you go up this road just a little ways, you'll come to this gate that's over this little trail. And this trail leads to a place into the woods where the actual sighting was made. I'll tell you about it. I just wanted to give you an idea of where we were and what was going on. I have come over here to where this particular place is, and I'm hearing a lot of sounds that I'm not familiar with, so it could be Dogman or Bigfoot or something is in the area right now. I'm actually hearing something whistle that doesn't sound natural to me. It sounds like somebody or something imitating a whistle or something like that. But anyway, we'll get on to the Dogman sighting. If you happen to see one walk across this road behind me, be sure to comment and let me know. You never can tell anymore over here because there's a lot of stuff goes on in these particular woods. This area is in Tallapoosa County is where this happened. I was trying to think of a good name for this place. I guess we'll call it Dogman Crossing would be good over here. But anyway, what happened, a man who owns this particular property also has a hunting club. A few months ago, he and another member decided to go out and get some of the areas ready that they keep up over the summer and everything, like keeping grass cut and grass planted and some of the feeders baited and that type of stuff. So that's what they were doing on this particular day. One of them was driving a tractor. He was going to do a little plowing over there, and the other one was on a four-wheeler carrying like seed and deer feed and that type of stuff into the area where they would be. Thought I heard something, into the area where they would be hunting later on that particular year. But anyway, this only happened a few months ago. I won't give it away exact times or locations, anything like that, as I normally do. Anyway, they were going down the little trail that I showed you behind the gate and headed down to where they have a green field or a feeding area whatever you want to call it, for deer. And as you could tell in the shot a while ago, the woods down through there is very thick on either side. Anyway, they turned off of this little trail here going into where the hunting house and that type of stuff was. And as they did, they thought they saw some movement out in the woods of something that they wasn't familiar with. But anyway, they kept inching on down through there. They wasn't going very fast on a tractor and a four-wheeler anyway. They wasn't running a race like a lot of people do that drive four-wheelers and that type of stuff. As they headed toward the hunting area with the green field and the hunting house or shooting house, whatever you want to call it, as I said, they began to see something out in the woods moving around. Well, they thought, I didn't know if it was a deer or what. It didn't look like a deer. They didn't know exactly what it was, so they decided they would stop. And whenever they did, they could hear this thing running through the woods, and it was running down on all fours. And he said it was completely covered in hair, but the hair was like in clumps, and it was different lengths, different parts of his body, up around his shoulders, and his head, the hair was longer than what it appeared to be on his hips and his hind legs and his tail. But anyway, they said they kept watching this thing for a minute, and it began circling kind of. And then all at once, this whatever this thing is, the gnats pretty bad over here today, and mosquitoes, so anyway, I may be fighting them for a few minutes. But anyway, whatever this thing was kept circling, so they began watching it a little closer. They had never got to the area where they were headed. Anyway, they kept watching it, and as I described it a while ago, that's pretty much what it looked like, and it was brown. And it looked similar to a German Shepherd dog as far as the head part went. And they thought, well, maybe it was a large German Shepherd. He said it was a big dog, whatever it was. And he said, well, maybe this German Shepherd was just a stray, and it had the mange or something, and that's why the hair was the different lengths and that type of stuff. All of a sudden, this thing stands up on two hind legs and begins running. And he said whenever it stood up that he knew this thing was at least 6.5 or 7 feet tall. And occasionally they could hear it growling as it ran around and around where they were. And he said then it began getting closer. As it would make a circle, it would be a few feet closer to them every time that it came around. So he said he and this other guy decided that they'd better get out of Dodge and better get out quick. So they jumped back on the tractor and the four-wheeler and took off back up that little road. Let me show you the little road once again. And so they took back up off the road here where the gate is, so they could get away from this thing. It hadn't actually attacked them. It was just kind of circling them like it was sizing them up. After they got back up to the road to where the truck and the trailer was that they had brought the tractor and the four-wheeler down on, they loaded it as quickly as possible and headed back to the clubhouse, hunting house, whatever you want to call it, where they actually stay and that type of stuff whenever they are down here hunting. And when I came over here today to do the video, I noticed that somebody has, I don't know if they just been spinning around and around, or if they actually saw something and they were wanting to get out of here as quick as these two men did that afternoon. I'll show you a little bit of that real quick. As you can see here on the ground, somebody, and there's my tracks where I came in. But as you can see, somebody was in a pretty big hurry to get out of here not very long ago where this ground has been torn up like it is. But anyway, we'll get on back to the studio and we'll finish up this video about our first Dogman sighting in Tallapoosa County. Okay, there you have that story on the Dogman that was reported a few weeks or months so ago from Tallapoosa County. Now let's go to the little section of the video to where we come up with what kind of theories or ideas, or what do you think this was? What do you think it was? I'll be interested in hearing your comment, what you have to say on it. And I do appreciate all of you who do comment. Sometimes I get bad comments. I don't particularly appreciate those, but I take them and go on. I always like the good comments, and I appreciate those. But anyway, let's see if we can sort of come up with some ideas or theories of what this thing may be. There is the possibility that it was a government experiment of some type that got away from wherever it was created or made. And you may laugh at that and say, nah, there ain't any government facilities around there. Well, there certainly are. We have Lake West Point, we have Lake Wedowee, we have Lake Martin. All of those could conceal any type of thing under the water. As a matter of fact, I did a video a while back where I told about Lake Martin, that UFOs had actually been seen coming in and out of the water and were witnessed by doctors who I believe are a very good witness whenever it comes to telling something like that. Why would they tell me something like that when they would have so much to lose, as losing their jobs and their position? I do believe what they told me about the UFOs were true, so that leads to say that there could be some type of alien base or just some other type of government base under the lake. Now, I know I have mentioned it in some other videos, and I'm going to mention it again in this one while we're talking about possible government facilities in this area. If you will remember, several years ago, in one of the videos, I did tell about a man who gave me what I consider was a deathbed confession that he had actually worked under Lake Martin in a government facility there for many years. He had retired there, so he said he had worked so long. And it was not long after that till this man passed away. Whenever I talked to him, he was in bed, pretty much unable to get out. He was, and that's why I consider it pretty much a deathbed confession. He just needed somebody to talk to and get some things off his mind, and or to maybe make peace with himself or whatever he felt was in the next life. And I feel like that's what he did. We also have a military place here that could very well hold some type of experiments or whatever. There are just several other areas around. One that comes to mind is Area 148 is what we have come to call it, as well as Area 43. These are all very possible government-based facilities or land that could very well be holding about anything hidden over there. So it could be that something escaped that they were working on, or whatever. One other possibility is what this thing could be. Is this where the legend of werewolves came from? Is this just some type of creature that has been around for ever since the beginning of time, or whenever it was created, and it's just now beginning to come in to sight, as is Bigfoot? Bigfoot has certainly stayed hidden for many, many hundreds of years, and just now beginning with all the technology and type of stuff that we have, are we just now beginning to pick up on Bigfoot as much as we do? There are reports going back several hundred years of this ape-looking, hairy creature that roams woods and that type of stuff. It isn't anything new, but he has managed, Bigfoot has managed to stay concealed for many, many years. So it's just something else to think about, Dogman. Is it the possibility where the legend of werewolves have come from? And I also have another creature that is similar to Dogman and similar to Bigfoot that I want to tell you about real quick. I have only received one report on this, but when I did look it up on the internet, I did find a little bit more information on this particular creature. I had a young lady last summer to contact me through the website asking me what this creature was and had I had any other reports on it in this particular area. The particular area that it came out of was down near Montgomery, Alabama, although Wetumpka was exactly where she said it was. I believe Wetumpka is in Elmore County, and of course Montgomery, the capital, would be in Montgomery County, but they are very, very close together down there. When you travel through, you actually don't know where Wetumpka ends and Montgomery begins, or the other way around. But this thing was supposed to have been seen and sighted down near Fort Toulouse, somewhere along the Tallapoosa River that runs down through there. And I believe the Tallapoosa River also goes on into Montgomery. I'm not sure on that. You'd have to look on a map. I can't look on one right now because I couldn't see it anyway. That's exactly why I'm not looking at it. But anyway, what she described this creature as, that she and some other friends over that particular weekend had done some camping, and Fort Toulouse does have a area for RVs and that type of stuff. I know they may have other type camping down there at Fort Toulouse, which, as I said, is in Wetumpka. But she and some other friends had run up on this type of looking creature. She said that it had the body of a Bigfoot, but it had the head of a male deer. And she described it as covered in long brown hair, arms and legs, and the torso were that of a Bigfoot. But from the neck up, it had a long neck, it had a deer-shaped face, it also had antlers. And she said there were probably 10 or more points to the antler to give you a size on that. She said the antlers went probably 2.5 to 3 feet above the top of its head. It had ears, eyes, nose, face shaped exactly like a deer. I had never heard of anything like that being spotted down there. I did email her back and ask her, was anybody down there like into the supernatural stuff, occult and that type of stuff, that they could have conjured up something. and we discussed that for a little bit. That could be another place that some of these creatures and things are coming from. But now, if you believe in the Bible, supposedly in the last days, giants and that type of stuff are supposed to roam the earth again. And is this where Bigfoot and is being seen so much, and this Dogman and this other creature in Wetumpka? I'll just call it the Wetumpka monster, or whatever you want to call it. We'll come up with something better. That's the best I can come up off the top of my head right now. Stagman, or the abominable Stagman, or something like that. We'll come up with some kind of name to call him down there. But is that possibly where that is coming from? Have the giants been released back on Earth as in the end time days? I'm wondering also, have giants been discovered in Antarctica? That's what is going on down there? They claim that they have found a race of something that were underground down there, have been frozen, and they're beginning to wake up. Is that where this type of stuff coming from? Also, something else I wondered, I have been discussing Antarctica with a friend of mine down in Valley, Alabama. He holds a weekly radio show. You might want to check in on that. It's WRLA. You might want to check that Saturday afternoon from 12 o'clock Central till 2 o'clock Central. Very interesting show. He has a lot of guests on there. They discuss a lot of paranormal topics. I have been fortunate enough that he has asked me down there on the radio show too. Hope I done a pretty good job that day. But anyway, there is something going on in Antarctica. Too many world leaders are going down there, and there's just too much going on. He and I, the reason I brought him up, we discussed back in World War II. It was said that the Nazis and Hitler actually had a base down there and went down there to do some investigating and that type of stuff, and that they actually found another race of beings that lived within the earth, and that's where they received a lot of their technology, like on things that fly and that type of stuff, were given to them if they went along with what this other race under the earth told them to do. And supposedly now UFOs may be coming out of the center of the earth rather than from space. They may be coming from both places, who knows. I've kind of got to rambling on, thinking about first one possibility, another. Everything seems to be connected together whenever you get to talking about it. I do hope you have enjoyed this Alabama adventure, but I have one other little thing that I want you to look at real quick. On a video or so back, I had some pictures of some old barns and shacks and old houses and just that type of stuff that I enjoy. So I'm going to let you look at a few more of those pictures right now to kind of get your mind off of Dogman maybe. Well, I do hope you enjoyed looking at some of those old barns and houses and shacks and that type of stuff. And now, as the sun is setting on down behind the pine trees here in the state of Alabama, it's about time for me to go eat supper. And got turnip greens, tater salad, cornbread, and may cook a pork chop here in a little bit. Wish you could join me tonight. That's a good southern eating. Of course, we got all the ice cold tea that you can drink. As I always do, I'd like to say hello to my granddaughter Madison. I'd also like to tell you that the Alabama Bigfoot Society is run completely out of pocket, and if you're in a position to where you could make a donation and you would like to, that would be greatly appreciated. All you have to do is to go to our website, alabamabigfootsociety.com, and there on the front page you'll find a place where you can make that donation. And I would like to thank all of you who have been on the website and have purchased some of the merchandise, and especially those of you who donate to the website regularly. It is very much appreciated. it's very much put to use. And I guess with all that being said, I'll be looking for you next time on the next Alabama adventure, getting close to Bigfoot.